Hello everyone, welcome back to this session of English. In this session, we are going to continue with our chapter connectors. Now, this one is part number 23. So, till now, we have already done 22 parts of connectors. So, in this session, we'll begin part number 23. Now, let us see what we are going to discuss in this session. Well, in this lecture, we will cover the following topics. And what are the topics that we are going to cover? Number one is provided that is on the condition that. Now, this is a conjunction. You can say, well, we have the word provided, but we can also use provided that. Okay, so both of these can be the conjunctions. And after that, we'll discuss lest, that is for fear that. Now, we are going to discuss or elaborate these two conditional connectors in this session. Okay, so let us start reading these connectors. So let's begin the session. First of all, we'll discuss provided that, which means on the condition that. Now, if I start with the word provided that, let me tell you one thing, that our conjunction is basically provided. This is the main conjunction or main connector that we have. But we can also use provided that, though provided that is a superfluous, still it is grammatically accepted. That is why we cannot use both the conjunctions, that is provided or provided that. Both serve the same meaning. Okay. Now, meaning of provided that. On the condition that, the phrase provided that is a conditional connector used to introduce a condition or stipulation. It essentially means on the condition that or assuming that. It means when we assume a situation or when we give someone a situation to imagine, there we use the word on the condition that or provided that or provided. Okay. This phrase sets up a specific requirement or criterion that must be met for something else to occur or be valid. It means if something has to be occurred, some pattern that is mandatory for that, or that is the condition that it will only happen if this happens. So this situation, this makes the connector provided that important in a sentence. Now, it is often used to indicate that one action or event depends on another. You can borrow my car, provided that you fill it up with gas. Now, what is the condition? If I want to give my car, I want to lend my car to someone, there is a condition for that person. If he wants to borrow it, that he should fill up it with gas. Okay. The action of borrowing the car is dependent on fulfilling the condition mentioned after provided that. So, condition that is mentioned after provided that, or which is written in the provided that clause, it should be fulfilled. Only on that basis, the action will be fulfilled or the action will occur. Uses of provided that on the condition that. Setting conditions. So first of all, the use of it is to set the conditions. It is commonly used to establish conditions or prerequisites. It means the something which is required. Okay, so something which is required first. You can join the trip provided that you pay your share by Friday. It means this will happen only after this has happened. It means if a person wants to join the trip, he has to submit money for it, but before Friday. Only after that he can go to the trip. Otherwise, he will not be allowed. In legal and formal documents, this phrase is often found in legal, contractual, and formal documents. This is very, very important in case of legal documents to specify conditions that must be met for the document's terms to be effective. The agreement will be valid provided that both parties sign by the designated date. It means the date which has been designated, they should sign it before that. Only after that the agreement will be valid. Otherwise, it will not. So, provided that makes a deadline for someone to do that before time. In policies and rules, it is used in stating policies or rules where certain privileges means benefits, or actions are allowed only under specified conditions. Employees can work from home. Now, this is very, very important. Here we are providing a condition that should be fulfilled. Only after that something can happen, otherwise it will not. Though the conditions are real, but the main action has provided to be done because you are giving them the condition that okay, this will happen, but before that you have to do this for that. For example, if a person goes somewhere to take admission, he will have to pay the fees first. Only after that he can he can avail the services of that particular institute. So here the condition is that employees can work from home. Okay, they will be provided work from home provided that they maintain regular communication with their team. So if only if they will maintain the regular communication with their team, only after that they will be provided work from home. Now, in instructions and guidelines, it helps in giving instructions or guidelines where following one part of the instruction is contingent on another condition. You may proceed with the experiment provided that all safety measures are in place. Okay. Now, in everyday conversation, it is also used in daily conversation to set forth conditions on terms in an agreement or plan. I'll lend you the book, provided that you return it next week. You return it by next week. It means my lending you the book is only dependent on one condition, that you will return it before time. Before next week. In warnings or cautions, it can be used to caution or warn someone that a particular outcome is contingent on certain conditions. This strategy will work provided that all team members cooperate fully. Okay, so here we are warning the warning the team members that this strategy will work only if they show their team effort. Now, structure of provided that is on the condition that. Main clause, first of all, will have the main clause. This is the primary statement or action that is dependent on the condition. Now, we know well that in case of connectors, we have two clauses in a single sentence where one has the condition or another one has the action, that is main action that has to be done. That is the main clause. Now, this main clause or the action that is mentioned in the main clause, it depends on the condition which is given in the conditional clause. And this connector, they are always, followed by the conditional clauses. It expresses what will happen or be true if the condition is met. Now, conditional connector, provided that this phrase introduces the conditional clause, it establishes the condition that must be fulfilled for the main clause to apply. Now, conditional or dependent clause, this clause specifies the condition that must be met for the main clause to be true or for an action to take place. Now, first of all, we'll have the main clause, then provided that, and then the conditional clause. You can borrow the car. This can happen, but provided that you return it by 6 p.m. It means only on one condition, that you will provide it by 6 p.m. It means before 6 p.m. Now, the main clause, it consists of you can borrow the car, conditional connector, provided that, and conditional clauses, you return it by 6 p.m. So, these three, combines to make the sentence complete. Provided that can be used at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence. When it starts a sentence, the structure is inverted. Provided that, then the conditional clause, and then the main clause. Provided that you complete your homework, you can watch TV. Here, watching TV is contingent on completing the homework. Now, whenever we use provided that in the beginning of the sentence, obviously, it will take we will not take only with the word or the phrase provided that. In fact, we'll take the entire conditional clause. It means conditional clause can always occur immediately after the phrase provided that, and after that we'll have the main clause. Okay, and if it comes in the middle of the sentence, obviously it will be followed by conditional clause as well. In that case as well. Rules associated with provided that or on the condition that. First of all, for clarity of condition, the conditional clause introduced by provided that should clearly state the condition or requirement that needs to be fulfilled. It should be specific and unambiguous. Okay, it means it should be clear that yes, we have to do this before the occurrence of any action. It should be clear. It should not be it should be unambiguous. It means it should not be ambiguous, that it should not provide something which is not clear or which is stating the two meanings where a person can be in dilemma. So that should not occur or that should not happen. Now, relevance in direct relation, the conditions set by provided that must be directly related to the action or situation in the main clause. Now, the sentence which is given or the condition which is given, it should be relevant to the action which is given in the main clause. Now, you cannot make any condition which cannot be fulfilled or which will be impossible. The cause and effect relationship should be logical and relevant. Now, placement in a sentence, provided that can be used both at the beginning of a sentence or in the middle. When it starts a sentence, it is followed by the conditional clause and then the main clause. If it is in the middle, the main clause usually comes first, followed by provided that and the conditional clause. So these two can be the situations. Now let me tell you these two structures. First of all, if we have provided that in the beginning of the sentence, these two things can occur, provided that. Now we can also have the single word provided. Okay, that is also okay. Now this clause and this clause. Okay. Now what another situation can happen? First we have this clause. After this we have the word provided or the connector provided that. Okay, connector provided that, and after this we have another clause. Now what type of these two clauses are? Here we have the conditional clause. Okay, if the sentence is beginning with provided that, here we have the conditional clause, and after this we have the main clause. Okay, but if we have this provided that in the middle of the sentence, what structure can we have? First we'll have the main clause, after that we have the connector that is provided that, and after that we'll have the conditional clause. So these are the situations that may occur, or these are the combinations that can be in the formation of provided that. Now let us get back to our sentences. First of all, the fifth one is tense consistency. The verb tenses in both clauses should be consistent and follow standard conditional tenses rules. Okay, we have already learnt the conditional rules of tenses. It means the conditions can be formed by having these two situations only. Now, in a conditional clause, there cannot be a modal. Okay, so you should keep this in mind. The tense used depends on the type of conditional sentence, that is real or unreal condition, and the time reference, that is present, past or future. So we have already learned the real or unreal situation or unreal condition. If the sentence is of unreal condition, the conditional sentence can be only in past plus plural form, not a substitute for if. It cannot be substituted for if. Why? While provided that is similar to if, they are not always interchangeable. Provided that often implies that the condition is a specific requirement of a stipulation, whereas if can introduce a broader range of hypothetical scenarios. Examples of provided that on the condition that. In everyday situations, you can use my laptop, provided that you don't download any software in it. Okay. We will go to the beach this weekend, provided that the weather is good. Okay, it means this will happen only if this will happen. Okay, and you can use my laptop, but there is one condition, that you should not download any software on it. In academic context, the theory can be applied in this case, provided that the variables remain constant. You will be eligible for the research grant, provided that your proposal is approved by the committee. In business and workplaces, employees are allowed to work remotely, provided that they complete their tasks on time. The company will finance the project, provided that it meets the projected revenue targets. In legal and formal documents, now the contract will be considered valid, provided that all the parties sign it by the end of the week. It means the contract will be considered valid only if all the parties sign it by the end of the week. This offer is binding, provided that it is accepted within 30 days. Okay, it means the offer will be binding. It means it is binding, provided that it means there is a condition that it will be accepted. It should be accepted within 30 days. Only after that it will be valid. In conditional offers or agreements, I will help you with your project, provided that you help me with mine later. You can borrow the car, provided that you return with a full tank of gas. In warnings or cautions, this strategy will be effective, provided that we analyze the market trends carefully. You can achieve a good result in this exam, provided that you start revising now. Okay, now you can also use single word that is provided. In fact, that is more appropriate. Now here we have done with provided that. Now another connector we are going to discuss, that is lest. This lest means for the fear that, or for fear that. Now lest can also be a pair condition, or you can say pair conjunction. If it is a pair conjunction, lest is always followed by should. But it can be used in a single conjunction or the single structure as well, where lest means that this should not happen. It means this provides a fear that this should not happen. Okay. So meaning of lest for the fear that, lest is used to express the intent of preventing an undesirable outcome. It is equivalent to saying for the fear that or to avoid the possibility that. It introduces a clause that explains the actions taken or conditions set to prevent a negative or undesired outcome. Okay. Example usage. In the sentence, speak softly lest you wake the baby. It means there is a fear that if we don't speak softly, the baby will wake up. So this is a fear of the people who are talking over there, that they don't want the baby to wake up, so they are speaking softly. Now lest is used to indicate that speaking softly is necessary to prevent the undesirable outcome. And what is their undesirable outcome? That is waking up of the baby. Uses of lest for fear that. First of all, it expresses caution or prevention. It is primarily used to indicate actions taken to prevent something undesirable from happening. Drive carefully lest you have an accident. So here they are warning someone that it drive carefully. So this is imperative and followed by a sentence following the word lest, and lest provides them the fear that you have an accident. So just to prevent that accident, you should drive carefully. In warnings, lest can be used in warnings to highlight the consequences of not following advice or instructions. Study regularly lest you fail the exam. Okay, or you can say lest you should fail the exam. Okay, this can also occur. Now, in formal or literary writing, it is often found in more formal or literary texts due to its slightly archaic tone. For instance, he tiptoed lest his footsteps be heard. In instructions and guidelines, in instructions, lest can be used to emphasize the importance of a particular action or to avoid negative outcomes. For example, seal the container tightly, lest the contents spill. In expressing fear or concern, it can express fear or concern about a potential negative situation. For example, she spoke softly lest she be overheard. Okay. In hypothetical scenarios, in academic or theoretical discussions, lest might be used to discuss the consequences of hypothetical actions. For example, one must consider all variables lest the experiment yields incorrect results. Structure of lest for the fear that. First, the main clause. This is the part of the sentence that describes the action or behavior being taken or recommended. The action is intended to prevent the undesired outcome mentioned in the conditional clause. Now, conditional connector, lest. The word lest directly follows the main clause and precedes the conditional clause. It serves as the connector that introduces the condition. Conditional dependent clause. The clause follows lest and describes the undesirable outcome or situation that the action is the main clause aims to prevent. It often includes a negative consequence or fear. Negative implication. Unlike some other conditional words or connectors, the clause following lest often implies a negative outcome which is to be avoided. Use of the subjunctive mood. The verb in the clause following lest is typically in subjunctive mood. Subjunctive mood means when the situation is imaginary, reflecting a non-real or hypothetical situation that the speaker wishes to avoid. Okay. The structure can be represented as, first of all, we'll have the main clause, then lest, and then the conditional clause. Now, if this word lest, it is used as a pair conjunction, it should always be followed by the word should. Lest and should. Lest is a negative word, so there should not be any negative word after the word lest or in the immediate after clause of lest. For example, in the sentence walk quietly lest the dog barks, the structure is main clause, that is walk quietly, conditional connector lest, and conditional clause, that is the dog barks. Rules associated with lest: for the fear that. Now, expressing prevention or caution, lest is used to indicate that an action is taken to prevent an undesirable outcome. It conveys a sense of caution or avoidance. Subjunctive mood: the clause following lest often employs the subjunctive mood, particularly with verbs like be or should. For example, be careful lest it be forgotten. Negative consequences: the clause introduced by lest typically describes a negative outcome or situation that is to be avoided. This makes it distinct from other conditionals that might express neutral or positive outcomes. No comma before lest. Unlike some conditional connectors, lest does not usually require a comma before it when connecting two clauses. So whenever we connect two clauses, there is no need to put a comma after the word lest. It is not required because many connectors we have seen in which we have not used comma after that. Position in a sentence: though in case of many competitive exams, these punctuations can be avoided. Lest usually comes in the middle of a sentence, connecting the main clause and the conditional clauses. Avoiding double negatives: care should be taken to avoid double negatives in the sentence structure, as the outcome described after lest is already negative. Now, direct consequence relation: the condition expressed after lest should be a direct and logical consequence of the action or situation in the main clause. It means it should be the result of what is given in the main clause. The condition should be should relevant or should be associated with the action that is given in the main clause. Not interchangeable with to prevent. While lest implies prevention, it is not always interchangeable phrases with like to prevent. Lest has a unique implication of avoiding or feared of undesirable outcome. So it cannot be substituted with word or phrase to prevent. Examples of lest for the fear that: first of all, in advising caution, speak softly lest you disturb the meeting. Handle the glassware carefully lest it breaks. In formal or literary contexts, he avoided mentioning the topic lest it upset her. They proceeded the stealth lest they be discovered. In expressing concerns or fears, I check my emails frequently lest I miss an important message. She rehearsed her speech repeatedly lest she forget her lines. Now here you can see the sentence: she rehearsed her speech repeatedly lest, what was her fear? Lest she forget her lines. It means it should not be forget, it should be forgot. There is a typing error maybe. So what was her fear? That she might forgot her lines. Okay. In warnings, drive cautiously lest you cause an accident. Invest wisely lest you lose your savings. In everyday scenarios, eat something now lest you feel hungry during the journey. Close the windows lest the rain gets in. In instructions or guidelines, seal the package securely lest the contents spill out. Study the instructions thoroughly lest you make a mistake during assembly. So these are two connectors that we have studied in this session. I hope you found this session beneficial. I hope you find this session beneficial and you have understood whatever we have done in this session. Now, if you want to read more connectors, be connected with me. Thanks to you till then.